Hey, and welcome into the Big Ten Huddle. I'm your host, JR. I've got a lot to talk about going on in the Big Ten. It is the Big Ten basketball power rankings episode. I am not in my normal location because it is snowing here in Indiana. Well, it already did snow. It's not snowing currently. And you thought that the window in my room that washes my face out and everything was bad before. Oh boy, with that sun coming off the snow, I was like, I gotta save the people. So I'm in my living room. It's a little bit darker. Hopefully the audio is okay, but we're making it work. I got casual Big Ten Kent with me here to break down our power rankings. Kent, how you doing, and how confident do you feel in your power rankings?
Well, first of all, I'm doing great. Thank you for asking. But also, I appreciate you moving because I feel like if I'm sitting next to a window too, so I look very pale white. And if you're doing the same thing, like it just looks like the two whitest guys on planet Earth talking about college basketball. So I'm glad that you moved. It like kind of balances it out. But I'm feeling I'm feeling confident-ish. I posted it about 45 minutes ago, I think, on Twitter, and I haven't read the replies yet. So maybe I'll do that mid-show here and see how bad I did. As far as the people think, I guess they always think I do bad. I feel like there's no winning in this anymore. You
I
can't
was gonna
make
say,
anybody happy.
do we need a segment of the show where we just read through casual Big Ten's Twitter comments and
Yeah,
react? Like it's like the mean tweets that oh, what's his name, the comedy dude used to do.
Jimmy Kimmel. Yeah,
Yeah, like we just mean tweets with casual Big Ten on the power rankings episode.
it's every week. But like, I kind of talked about this last night, even on Twitter, just how impossible it is at this point to like rank teams that have beat other teams behind. You could not just say like, okay, this team's ahead of them because they beat them, and do that all the way down the conference. It would be impossible at this point already.
Yeah, at this point, the only two teams you can say for sure are at the top are Michigan and Michigan State, right? Because both of them are still undefeated in Big Ten
Right.
play. So those are the only ones you can do that with. So
You could do that,
um,
or you could do like me and not put them number 1 and 2, and just really mix it up, which is what I did. I don't know why.
we got Philip here with us. He says, call in my shot if KJ plays Illinois, goes 2-0 this week at Indiana at Michigan State. Listen, it's
Oh,
going to be huge for them if they're able to. KJ has to play, and they got to rebound better against Indiana. Indiana's been a really good rebounding team here lately. So, yeah, and KJ obviously is a huge factor. And then Philip with a hot take here. He says, it's JR and B team host. How you feel about being the B team, Kent?
well, B team does it? That feels like a shot from Philip. A B
I
team
mean, B is
host?
better than C. Like, who's A, though? Is it Zach?
I guess
He's
so.
just football, though.
Man, that's tough. If Zach's
I
ahead of me, like, what's the power rankings for Big Ten Huddle guests? Yeah, like, if I'm not at the top, that really hurts actually, because I feel like
I
there's not that many people competing.
I don't know if I can do that. That's like choosing my favorite child. I can't choose my favorite guest. So maybe someday if we ever get like a Patreon or something and people pay me for it, I'll do it. But
That's how
oh,
much.
here we go. Philip says Sonny and Zach are 18.
Dang, that's tough.
Sonny
Well, okay, so I see
Sonny
how he says.
hasn't even been on in a while.
I was gonna say I know why he's saying Sunny because of the Illinois thing, but man, putting Zach ahead of me, that hurts, Philip. I thought we had a
Yeah.
better
Uh,
relationship than that.
Well, we are here to power rank the basketball team. So the power
Okay.
rankings of the host is a different day, a different episode entirely, actually. So we will get to that when it comes. But for now, we are here to power rank the basketball teams. Kent, let's start at the top, okay? I have Michigan number
Yep.
one. You have Michigan State number one. In fact, you don't even have Michigan number two. You are down at number three. I was surprised when I saw that. You and I, we text, off the show and stuff. You've been very high on Michigan. I was anticipating a one or a two spot of Michigan for you, but you've put Purdue up there at second. So give me your thoughts on Michigan and why you have Michigan State and Purdue over them.
Well, I'll start by saying that I don't think that there's a huge difference between any of those three, and even like I would lump Illinois in that group of
Mm.
those top four where there's not like a huge difference between any of them. So it's funny. I actually bookmarked this tweet yesterday. I wonder if I could find it, but somebody tweeted out like those five teams, which was the top five that we both have. and asked people to rank them. Like, because he was basically making standings for college basketball, and he was talking about how he's got them all like right next to each other, doesn't know really what to do with those Big Ten teams. And I read through the comments. There was like 300 comments, and everybody, it seemed like, had it different. So it doesn't seem like, you know, there's going to be a combination of those 5 that everybody's going to agree on anyways. And my reasoning behind doing it the way that I did it was that I had Purdue ahead of Michigan last week. And I think that Purdue had a really good, like really, really impressive week. Now, they weren't playing like the hardest teams in the conference, but they went on the road at like each game they go into, Purdue, this is, I feel like they're not as good as last year, but they go into that game and I say, all right, this is the chance for Purdue to get beat again. This is the chance for Purdue to get beat again. And then they show up and blow you out by like, they're up by 20, it seems like, instantly in these games. So I just felt like they had a really impressive week. They were already ahead of Michigan. Do I think that they're like that much better than Michigan? No, I think, like I said, those top 3, those top 4 are pretty interchangeable. So I just went ahead and kept Purdue ahead of Michigan because of where I was at last week.
That makes sense. I feel like Michigan had a better week than Purdue. Obviously, Purdue blew out Rutgers and Nebraska. That Nebraska game was also at home, and at this point, they are 13-4, 5-1 in the Big Ten, so they definitely deserve the flowers there. But I mean, I felt like overall Michigan had a better week. They were able to do more against their schedule, which to me was impressive. So I don't want to take anything away from Purdue. I think that Matt Painter's done a really good job coaching this team because they have obvious deficiencies that we've talked about on the show. And so for them to be able to get through some of the stuff that they've been having to work through and not just win, but win games big is a big accomplishment. For me, I'm kind of there with you with the 1-4, but I'm 1-5. I put Oregon up there as well. I know they got blown out by Illinois, but Oregon went on the road to Ohio State and won that game. They beat Maryland at home after that Illinois loss at home, and then they just went on the road and they beat Penn State, which Penn State was a team that blew out Purdue when Purdue went there. So obviously, transitive property is not what you need to use to
You can't use it at all, actually. I feel like you can't do it. Like, you can't even compare it like that at all.
I wouldn't say at all. Like, I do think that, like, you can look at the way this team plays against this team and some of that stuff. But yeah, if you're looking at like the score, you can't use it that much. So Wes says Wisconsin is coming.
I agree.
That could be where we go next. Do you want to move on or do you want to stick with the top 5?
I just wanted to say one more thing about just touching on one thing that you said, like Michigan having a more impressive week. I do feel like at the time when the week was like unraveling, I thought that they did, because when they went out to UCLA at that time, I was like, okay, UCLA is still a really good team. They had that slip up at Nebraska. It seems like everybody has that slip up at Nebraska. And then they go out and just dominate UCLA. But then as the rest of the week unfolded and we watched UCLA play again, it was like, wait a second, does UCLA stink? Like, what's going on with this? Like, so that actually gave me more confidence to put Purdue ahead, even though, like you said, it might have been a more impressive week for Michigan as the week went on. But like looking back at it, I was like, maybe that UCLA win wasn't as impressive as we really thought it was at the time. So that was just another thing I wanted to touch on. Like, that team seems absolutely lost. Like, Mick Cronin seems like he lost his locker room this week.
Yeah, was it after the Nebraska game or after the Michigan game when he kind of went off to the reporters?
It was after the Michigan game where he just started throwing everybody under called him, like, said he was the toughest guy on the team, and like, I mean, his press conferences, I get giddy just thinking about him. Like, because every time this man speaks, it's just like must-watch television. Like, he's so fun to listen to. And I didn't realize that like losing Mick Cronin was even more fun to listen to. So like, yeah, it was a fun week to follow Mick Cronin for sure.
Yeah, no, Mick Cronin press conferences are always a must-see television in my mind. Yeah, so I look at UCLA and obviously the loss against Michigan, and they're what, one of their last 5 or something like that, because they played Gonzaga and then they've lost 3 in a row here.
Yeah.
So obviously, like, UCLA is not having a good situation right now. I do want to see if they can bounce back. I want to see how the team responds to Mick Cronin's kind of, tougher coaching, because a team that did respond is who Wes is talking about here in Wisconsin. Wisconsin went through a tough stretch, losing to Michigan, Marquette, and Illinois. And ever since then, this Wisconsin team has done nothing but answer. The win over Iowa, the way they were able to do that was huge. The 3-point record and everything. They went on the road to Rutgers, which you just talked about, giving Purdue a lot of credit for that. They did basically, not exactly the same thing, but they did basically the same thing to Rutgers. Like, I'm with Wes. Like, I don't want to downgrade Wisconsin too much. I do feel like I still have them a little too low at 6th or at 7th, and maybe I should have them over Maryland, because Maryland lost to Washington. Maybe I'm too high on Maryland still, but the way I look at this, like, Wisconsin, they just need to get a couple more of those bigger wins to really solidify themselves into the top tier of the Big Ten. So they got Ohio State, USC, and UCLA coming up. This week is Ohio State and USC. Those aren't going to be super tough games, but on the road to USC, after what USC did to Illinois, you're going to have to give credit to a team if they're able to beat USC on the road.
Yeah. One of my favorite things about just doing power rankings in general is that when I do get feedback from people, like the level-headed people on Twitter, which there are few and far between. Last week it was the Wisconsin people. They were like, "You're way too low on us right now. Like, just check where you're at." And I looked
at Scary Alvarez. Did you get
What's
Scary
that?
Alvarez?
Yeah, no, it wasn't him. He was not the level-headed one that I was talking about. No, he's cool though. I do like him though. He's cool. I like him. But
oh yeah, we had Scary on the show for basketball last season. I need to get him back on again. He was awesome.
Yeah, he's fantastic.
Great.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
He's funny, but he's like ruthless sometimes. But I said on this show last week, I said I'm gonna watch every game. I don't know why I said I'm gonna watch it, but I'm gonna look at the Rutgers game. And if Wisconsin goes in there and just controls everything, controls the pace, the way the game is played, and they go in and beat Rutgers soundly, I will move them up. And not only did they do that, but then obviously they went and beat Minnesota too. So I bumped them up quite a bit. I want to look real quick where I had them last week. I think I had them at like 10, 11 last week. So yeah, I bumped them up quite a bit from 11 up to 6. And I agree with Wes too. Like, I think that Wisconsin is coming, like, they're going to be a tough team, really tough team to beat this year. So I'm borderline almost putting them in that top mix, but they're definitely on that second tier with Oregon and like teams like Iowa or Nebraska or Maryland, whoever you want to throw in there. I think that they're teetering from the second tier, like about to push through to that first tier, I think.
Yeah, for sure. I think Wisconsin got a bit of an unfair way we looked at them, because I don't think we thought this Michigan team is who they are now when they originally beat Wisconsin. Like, I thought Michigan was like a little bit above middle of the pack team, kind of like where I have Wisconsin right now. Like, that's what I thought this Michigan team was at the time, because they hadn't really played anybody yet at that time. But now they are showing undefeated in the Big Ten, big wins that showcase. I mean, I have number 1 in my power rankings. So that's kind of the hard thing about doing this a lot of times, is like, obviously Wisconsin fans see this, but us looking at the entire Big Ten, sometimes we're just looking back at the 1 week and we're saying like, oh, okay, they didn't have a great week, I'm not going to move them up that much. Or like, not, they didn't have a great week, like they didn't beat anybody super good this week, so I'm not going to move them up that much. But you do have to take into account, like, they lost to Michigan and Illinois, top 3, top 4 teams in the Big Ten. Like, how much can you really take away from them from doing that? So,
and then their only other loss is Marquette. So it's like, wait,
who Maryland
are they
lost
really
to,
good? Is
Purdue
Wisconsin
lost
actually
to,
really good?
I think they are. I mean, Maryland lost to, Purdue lost to. Somebody else has played Marquette. I'm pretty sure, but yeah, I mean, Marquette's beat good teams, so that's another good team. So
the thing I was just going to say too, the thing I like about Wisconsin too is that, and I remember you and I talking about this before the season even started. So I'm going to pat both of our backs right now. This is a completely different Wisconsin team than like the one that I grew up watching, basically, where they just grind it out and like kind of low scoring defensive battles. Like this team can score. Like it's a fun team to watch too. It's like a fun team to cheer for. So that's what I get excited about with Wisconsin, and why I'm like excited to move them up even more. Like their guards are super athletic, they're very aggressive, and then they have like those veteran guys down low that not a lot of teams have. Like who has a big guy that's been on their roster for 3 years now? Like that's what Wisconsin has right now. So
Yeah, not many.
it's a very unicorn type team, I feel like, in this conference. So I'm getting really excited about Wisconsin.
Yeah, I'm excited about him as well. Philip made a comment here, and I said this last night on Locked On Illini, which, by the way, go check me out on Locked On Illini with Sunny every Monday morning. We do power rankings, and we do a quick preview of who Illinois is going to face that week, and give our thoughts there, or at least my thoughts. I don't know, Sunny, if he has time. I talk a lot, so and they're on a time crunch there. We're not on a time crunch on this show. I can never do Locked On. They'd be like, "Oh yeah, 30-minute episodes," and I'm like, dude, I try to do an hour episode with Zach, and we go an hour and a half every Sunday.
So, I got to get back on Locked On Illini. It's been like a couple months now, I feel like.
Yeah.
I got to get back on there. I'm going to tell Sonny this week I need to do a show.
Yeah, you should do Fridays, and then that way we can bookend it. You do Friday, I'll do Monday, and then the rest of the time is by himself. So,
all right.
Philip says, I still think Michigan is tricking people. I don't know if Michigan is tricking people, but I mean, I've told you this before, like off the show. Kent, like to me, what Michigan is doing is exceptional, but not sustainable. Like you cannot remain in the 100th percentile of effective field goal percentage all season long. In my mind, maybe they can, but right now they're above 60% in effective field goal percentage on the season. Like that is outstanding. And I'm not trying to take anything away from them and say that they're not a good team or anything, but like that is something that only so many teams in the history of college basketball have been able to do. And so when you have that, in addition to, they are in the 11th percentile of turnover rate in all of college basketball. Like that's how they're doing this. They have all these turnovers, and they don't take care of the basketball very well, but they're also shooting lights out and doing a really good job. I mean, they're 63% in 2-point field goals, which is just amazing. Which makes sense because you have Daniel Wolf and Vlad Golden. But then on top of that, they're 38% from 3-point land, which is in the 90th percentile of all college basketball. Which, by the way, if you want to see where I'm getting these stats at, you can go over to CBB Analytics. CBB Analytics sponsors the show, and they also give us a code for you to be able to get $30 off your purchase of CBB Analytics. So if you ever want to check them out, cbbanalytics.com. If you want to purchase it, they have a free version. You can use that, but if you want to purchase it, use code HUDDLE, and that will get you $30 off. Essentially, your first month free of CBB Analytics. I cannot recommend it enough. It is totally different from KenPom. It's totally different from Torvik. The amount of stats and everything you get from it is just unreal. It makes you a better college basketball nerd, college basketball stat person, whatever you want to call it. So, sorry, that's my commercial I had to put in there, Kent. What are your thoughts on Michigan and their sustainability?
I was just gonna say, I'll tag onto that with the CBB Analytics. I'll stay up late some nights and just like be on there making. You have to get the paid version though to get everything that you're talking about. But like I have that as well, and I'll just like look at graphs and look at numbers, and I'm not even like sharing it or anything. I'm just looking at it for my own personal entertainment. But it's really fun to have it though if you have it. So yeah. I don't think Michigan's tricking people either though. I'm with you. Like it just comes down to me, all those stats you just said, it comes down to, I think that Michigan's still going to win a ton of games, but there's going to be a game like in the next 3 weeks, I think that they're going to lose that they shouldn't because they didn't shoot the three well. And that's going to affect them against like a really good team that can rebound and still be able to score. Like I'm looking at like Purdue, for example. Like I know I have Purdue in front of them. You can't go into Mackey and like shoot the ball like, I don't know, 4 for 20 or whatever from 3 and expect to win that game. Like that's not going to happen. So there'll be some games like that for them, but I really, really like Golden and Wolf on the floor at the same time. Man, that like pick and roll, the high-low stuff that they run is going to be very tough to stop. Very tough to stop.
Yeah, it's feast or famine at this point for Michigan. They are the last place in the Big Ten in 2-point shots per game, but they are first place in the Big Ten in 2-point shot percentage. Like
That's insane.
the like the range of this team is just incredible. And for me, like I said, to me, it's not so much tricking people; it's just not sustainable. Like Dusty May is going to have to figure out the turnover situation and some of that stuff. Right now, obviously, it's not too bad, but yeah. There we go. Philip says Kent is on CB Analytics while he's making Chris Collins videos. There we go.
You make one Chris Collins video. The thing is, I post it every single time they play, though, so it seems like I'm making them all the time. The same video.
Should I make a Mike Locksley video for football next year?
Yes. Is he going to be there though, or is he going to be coaching the Jets?
He interviewed with the Jets. All right, we don't need to get on football.
Speaking of the videos, though, someone from Wisconsin like 2 weeks ago was like commented on the Chris Collins one and was like, "Someone make this for Greg Gard," and I was like, "Oh my god, I want to do that." Like, and the lead would just be like the fight between him and Juwan Howard, and then like the music drops and it's just a bunch of Greg Gard edits. Man, that would be so sick. I want to do that.
It sounds like you should do it.
I really want to. Man, if I just had more time.
You should do it this week, and then we'll unveil it on the next Power Rankings episode.
Oh, man, I don't know. I don't know about that.
All right,
we'll think about it.
We'll think about it. All right. Talked about Wisconsin. Iowa, I think, is a really interesting situation. They were my sleeper team that I selected at the beginning of the year. I said I didn't think they would be in the top 4, but I definitely didn't think they would finish in the bottom half of the Big Ten, like many people were projecting for them to do. Their 8th, 7th spot right now, where we have them, seems right to me. I think their ceiling is probably 5th in the Big Ten, but honestly, I think their floor isn't much lower than 10th. This is just a team that has NBA talent in Peyton Sandford. They have a good player in Owen Freeman. Like if Owen Freeman figures out the rebounding situation like he did this last game against Indiana, they're going to be fine. They're going to be a top half of the Big Ten team. It's just, can he figure out that rebounding situation? That's the biggest key factor for me. What's your thoughts on Iowa?
It's so difficult. Like yesterday, or what was it, Saturday, I guess now, the game against Indiana, those types of games, I immediately give up hope on the team that lost when they lose like that, and then I'm all in on the team that won. So that's why, I mean, I still have them ranked like 7 and 8, so they're right next to each other. But I do have to mention too, since you brought up Owen Freeman, video of the week, like the clip of the week was him saying that it wasn't co-freshman of the year last year. Hilarious. Yeah. Did not know that he was a trash talker like that. Love it. Need more of that from everyone.
He's not a trash talker. You saw the way he said it. Like he said it like a bit reserved. It was like, dude, Owen, if you're gonna say that, bro, you gotta actually say it. Like you gotta say that into the mic. But he was kind of reserved with it.
But he did say it though.
It wasn't co-freshman of the year. It's like, dude, pump your chest out and say it. But
I think he was trying to do it like on the just being real slick about it. I thought it worked. I don't know. I thought it was hilarious. But
I mean, if he becomes like the slick guy that says stuff like that, it'll make sense. But he's not known for that. Like, I don't know. I wish he would have got up there and had been like, yeah, just so all you writers know, it wasn't co-freshman of the year, and then just like walked off. Like, I don't know. Anyway, go ahead.
It would have been funnier, if he did puff his chest out. But the weird thing about Iowa for me though is like Peyton Sandford does not score in the first half. Like the last 2 games, I think he had like 4 points combined in the first half. And then he's like, oh, okay, we're playing basketball now. Explodes after halftime. The last 2 games, I shouldn't say every game, but the last 2 games, that was really weird to me this week watching them in both of those games that they played. But yeah, man, I think that I was low on Iowa to start the year, I feel like, and now I'm starting to turn the corner, kind of like I am with Wisconsin. I'm starting to feel like a little bit more confident about where they can be, but I agree 100% with your assessment. I think their ceiling is 5, but I don't see them going any lower than 10 at this point because their arena like doesn't get talked about like Nebraska's does, but I feel like Iowa's just as tough of a place to win at than Nebraska.
It's the Big Ten. It's exactly the reason why, and we'll get to them soon, but it's exactly the reason why a place like Ohio State, I I don't think they have a very high ceiling in the Big Ten because they don't have that home court advantage that teams like Indiana, Iowa, Purdue, obviously Michigan this season, Michigan last year. Those fans made it known how much they didn't want to give them a home field advantage, which I understand. Juwan was, not easy to root for, and everything else. But like these teams that have home court advantages at this point, it's not so much it is an advantage for Purdue because theirs is so good, but it's not so much an advantage as it is an expectation for a lot of these teams. So when you're a team like Ohio State that they have basically no home court advantage because they play in an NBA-sized stadium that nobody wants to come to and watch because everybody's pissed off with the basketball team. There was some momentum early on in the year, and then they watched them play against Michigan State and they watched them play against everybody else, and it's like, what the heck? Like we got another terrible basketball team. And so for me, like Iowa's doing what they're supposed to be doing. Indiana's doing what they're supposed to be doing. Maryland, Rutgers, like they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. Unfortunately for Rutgers, it doesn't look like it's going to matter this season. They don't have enough talent around Harper and Bailey. And with Harper recovering from the illness, it looks like he might not be the player he once was. But
what do you think?
Says OSU moving to a rec hall for games. Listen, they got St. John's. If they move to St. John's, it'd be better. But I don't think. I think they said something about like they can never move back there because of the Wi-Fi capabilities. Is not like the way it's built. They can't get proper Wi-Fi to areas of the stadium because of all the streaming stuff. So they've said that like TV companies or whatever, like you can't go there. That's a big deal with it. Sorry.
That seems like a very fixable problem to start with. But I wanted to double back on Iowa for just a second, though. What do you think they do this week? Because they're doing their California swing right now where they go to USC and then UCLA. And by the way, love this, that the teams go out there and play the two games. Obviously, that's been set up for a long time. But I feel like we get a really good indication of what teams are when they go out and play that little West Coast swing. And like Michigan, for example, they went out there and won both of those games. And when they came back, it was like, oh, they can travel. They can go 2-0 on the road and then come back and still get wins. Like if Iowa goes out and does that same thing, then I'm going to think even higher of them than I do right now. And it'll be very high at that point. Like going to beat USC and UCLA, that's going to be tough for them. But man, even if they can split, I feel like that's a successful trip for them.
Yeah, I mean these West Coast like weeks are going to be big testers for teams. You got Iowa doing it this week.
Yeah, Iowa's going USC tomorrow and then UCLA on Friday.
Yeah, and Purdue's going this week as well. They're going Washington on Wednesday and then Oregon on Saturday. So the Washington one they should be able to handle, but Maryland went out there and they didn't handle it. But again, Matt Painter's a better coach than Willard is, so he'll obviously have the guys much more ready for that than Willard did. But the way I look at it, like these West Coast swings are going to matter a lot for the kind of perceptions of the teams, but they also matter a lot for these West Coast teams too. Like Oregon getting blown out at home. I was a little forgiving of them. You were a little forgiving of them at fifth, but there's some people that are just completely written off Oregon at this point because they've seen UCLA struggle and they saw Oregon struggle against Ohio State. And so people are writing them off. I still think Oregon has a good team and they can still make some noise. But, I can't argue with people too much who are counting Oregon out because you just – when you're a West Coast team, you have such that home court advantage. You can't get blown out by Illinois like that at home. You have to at least be competitive, and they were not competitive in that game.
Would you feel differently if they actually lost that game yesterday at Penn State when they didn't have Ace Baldwin Jr. on the court? Like, because I feel like
Oregon had lost to Penn State.
Because Oregon pretty much, I mean, that was like almost a miracle that they won that game yesterday. Like, they should have lost. Penn State really blew it at the end, I thought, in multiple different ways. But they had the lead with like 2 minutes to go. I think they had a 4 or 5 point lead. And then Oregon came back and won by 2 in regulation. So, like, I feel like if Oregon did lose that game, I would be closer to the boat of people that are saying I'm writing them off, where now they came back and won that game. I'm still thinking pretty highly of them. Yeah. Do you feel like that too?
I mean,
or am I hinging too much stuff on each game? Maybe I am.
like again, if Purdue had beaten some better teams this week, and I'm not trying to take anything away from Purdue, they've played a really tough schedule. But if Purdue had beaten some better teams this week, then like I probably would be with you and like had moved Oregon at least below them. But I mean, Oregon went out, and even though Ohio State and Penn State are not teams that we thought they were, I shouldn't say we. I knew Ohio State wouldn't be good. That other people thought they were at the beginning of the season. Like these are still teams that play good brands of basketball. And I'm with you. Like Penn State did give that game away, but as far as I'm concerned, like I've seen teams try to give games away before and teams not take it. Like there have been teams that have definitely like made mistakes at the end of the game, and other teams haven't taken it. And Oregon did take it. So I'm going to give them another week at this point. And the beautiful part of it all is we are going to actually get to see Purdue play Oregon on Saturday. So all of this stuff can be, cleared up. Purdue and Oregon will play. And
that's their next game. I hate, man.
No, they play Washington
for Oregon.
And Oregon.
For Oregon, yeah. I'm saying that's their next game.
Oh, is it their next one? Okay.
Yeah, which I hate that, man. Like I want 2 games a week for everybody. Am I asking for too much, guys?
I think when they get off these like West Coast swings, don't they get like a rest before?
I guess so.
So when you get off these like swings, you get a rest. Or no, Purdue's not going to get it because Purdue plays Saturday and then Tuesday. I thought that said Thursday. I apologize. I saw Purdue's playing Thursday and Friday. I was like, back to back? That sucks. But no, it's Tuesday. I just read it wrong. So, all right, we spent a lot of time on the top there, and that's some good stuff. I do think we also need to talk about UCLA and Nebraska. Obviously, Nebraska took down UCLA at home. UCLA been struggling, not doing so well lately. I thought I moved them pretty down low at 10th, and then you sent me your power rankings. You have them 11th, and I was like, oh, dang, maybe I need to move them lower than that. Give me your thoughts on UCLA and maybe touch on Nebraska a bit as well.
I can't give you my thoughts on UCLA because I don't know what they are at this point. Like, what's going on right now? What is going on? 3 losses in a row. Like I said, I kind of mentioned this at the top of the episode, but like I thought the Nebraska thing was like just a one-off and they were going to get back on track. And then Michigan completely broke them, I think, after that. And then Mick Cronin getting thrown out of the Maryland game. Like I said, I feel like he's lost his whole locker room. I feel like this is a team that is desperate. Like tonight, if they lose tonight at Rutgers, like what happens next for Mick Cronin? You've already got tossed out of the game. You've already called all your players out. What does he say at the press conference if he loses tonight to Rutgers, who's like on this awful losing streak themselves? So massive game for them to get even just back on track. And I feel like they really need to blow Rutgers out too, because this is a team that needs confidence badly. I had UCLA at 1 last week. I don't think I've ever dropped a team from 1 out of the top 10 before, but like that's how bad. Like last week I was saying what I just said. I didn't think the Nebraska game was that big of a deal. I thought this was still a really good team. And then watch them play twice this week, and the way that Mick like handled everything, I just felt like this is a lost team and really starting to write them off at this point. Like borderline not a tournament team. Like if they didn't have the wins that they have, I'd had their record pulled up right here. Like if they didn't have that Oregon win, they're kind of hanging on that and the Gonzaga win. I feel like at this point for their tournament resume, but if they don't get some more conference wins, they're not even going to be involved in the conversation. Like if it keeps going the way that it's trending right now.
Yeah, I mean, UCLA, I don't know. Are they even going to be ranked this week? I don't think they're even going to be ranked this week. No. They were up at like near 10th at one point. Okay, so hot take. I'm actually going to kind of defend Mick Cronin a little bit.
I like him. I like him, by the way.
Yeah, no, trust me. I want as much Mick Cronin pressers in my life as long as possible. So UCLA, please never move on. And I'm not saying that's a rumor or anything. I'm just saying like he is very entertaining. But like you look at the last 5 games for UCLA, like they barely scored over 20 points in the paint. These last few games, they are 17th. They've averaged 21 defensive rebounds per game. the last 5 games, like they are getting steals and they are, like doing well passing and stuff like that, but they're not blocking shots. They're not defending well. They're not shooting a high percentage from 2-point. Like they're making bad decisions with their shot taking. Like a lot of this stuff does indicate a team that is not thinking through the game and is not playing as hard as a Mick Cronin team should. Like Mick Cronin does not assemble teams of players who are like these uber talented guys that can just win off of talent alone. Like this isn't Kentucky. This isn't, Illinois to some extent. I'm not trying to dog Illinois by saying that they're just talented. They're obviously tough as well. I'm just saying they have more talent this season than a lot of other teams. And so even if Illinois isn't as tough as another team, they're going to be able to win purely based off their talent. That's all I'm saying. But like UCLA is not that team. UCLA has to be gritty, have to be tough, and in order to win games, they have to dominate you in the paint. They have to play good defense, which they have played pretty good defense the last 5 games. But it's not been
Not if you listen to Mick Cronin talk about it,
right? And that's what I'm saying. Like not if you want to play at the level of Mick Cronin and UCLA, because he requires so much more out of the toughness and everything of this team. And that's the thing that I don't think I anticipated. Russ talked about it, playing these Big Ten teams. Like UCLA is coming in and they're being met with the physical attitude and stuff like that I don't think they were met with in the Pac-12 hardly as much. And so Mick Cronin now, like, number one, he does need to get his team to play harder, but he as a coach also needs to adjust now to the X's and O's and say, okay, I can't just rely on being the tougher, more hardworking team in every single game. I need to get Dylan Andrews, sharing the ball better. I need to, have our guys shooting from 3 better. Like we need to get the X's and O's put together better, in my opinion. Am I off there? What's your thoughts?
No, I don't think you're off. I think you're right about that. Who was the kid that they were missing against Nebraska that they got back this week and it didn't really matter? The face mask guy. He was wearing a face mask this week. Eric Daly Jr.
Oh, Daly, yeah.
Yeah, like I was pretty impressed with how he played this week, but still, like they have their full complement of players now. Like it's not like a team like Illinois who was missing KJ and like they were like, oh, that's why we lost. They have everybody. They're just not playing well. Like, and I keep saying, I know I've said this a few times now. I don't know how well I'd be playing for a guy like Mick Cronin right now, who, like I said, I have a lot of respect for. I think he's great. He's proven that he can be great. He went to a national championship, for God's sakes. But if you're going to go into a press conference after a game and by name be calling people out by the mistakes that they made, I'd be terrified to play for this guy. Like any mistake that I make, he's going to either bench me or he's going to call me out in the media. It just doesn't seem like a team that's like cohesive, a team that's together right now. So I'm really worried about them. Really.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about how the team responds now, right? This is Mick Cronin coaching. We weren't going to expect anything else from him. He's going to be tough on his guys, and he's going to call you out. He's going to expect a lot from you, which, I think is good coaching. Personally, I don't know about calling people out by name, but I think expecting a lot from your guys and trying to have them, reach their fullest potential and give the most effort possible is obviously good coaching. But the way I look at it at this point is just how does this team respond to this kind of tough coaching? Sky Clark, I don't think is going to respond well. We saw him at Illinois with some of the tough coaching from Brad Underwood. Sonny brought that up on Locked On Illini last night. I don't think it's going to go so well. But a guy like Kobe Johnson, a guy like Tyler Bilodeau, a guy like Dylan Andrews, like how are these guys going to respond to that? Are they going to come together as a team and play better? Are they going to blame one another? Or are they just going to be like, screw you, Mick Cronin, I don't care about you. I'm going to transfer after the season. It's all about how they respond at this point.
I think it's going to be that last one. I think it's going to be like, screw you. We're leaving next year anyways. We don't care. I mean, when you assemble
Russ says Cronin or Collins, pick a coach to start with your program. Collins, easily.
Dumb question, Russ. You know the answer to that. I do like those are two of my favorite coaches in the conference still, but I forgot what I was going to say now. Oh, when you assemble a team, that's one of the bad things about the transfer portal. Like the good thing is you can go get really talented guys like Mick Cronin did. He has like half of his team was like from the transfer portal last year, right? But the problem with that is you have guys that are just ready to leave again. So if you start going on losing streaks like this, you're losing the team, and they're just gonna be like, we'll just do that again. We'll go find another team to play for next year and try this one more time. But it's definitely not going to be the same team. I'm a transfer person. I like to transfer. I'm going to leave again. So that's the downside of the portal. Like there's the ups of like getting great players, but those great players might say, hey, I'm going to leave again. So it's a revolving door. I think it's always going to be at places like UCLA.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I hear you. I think the transfer portal is definitely something that a coach like Mick Cronin does have to adjust to, because you need to find a way to still be hard on your players, but still ingratiate yourself to them, that they don't just give up and say, all right, I'm going to the portal. Because I don't think that's good for I don't think that's good for the players. I don't think that's good for college basketball. I don't think that's good for coaching in general today. But it's all about how it plays out. So we'll see.
On that roster, if you go through it, I know we're talking way too long about UCLA at this point, but of the eligible guys that are able to come back next year, do you think he gets half of them back?
Honestly, I'm going to have to see how they respond this week. I mean, they obviously didn't respond well after Michigan. We'll see, but I don't want to make that their entire season, right? Like I just brought up Wisconsin. Wisconsin lost 3 in a row, albeit to good teams, but Wisconsin lost 3 in a row, and Greg Gard didn't, go at his players like that, but they responded after those 3. So maybe this is just how Mick Cronin gets his guys to respond. I don't know. We'll see. If
we'll see tonight,
if we come back next week and UCLA has lost 2 in a row, who do they play this week?
They're playing. You're talking about UCLA. They're playing Rutgers tonight. I know that. And then they're playing. What did we just say? They're playing Purdue.
No, Iowa.
Oh, Iowa.
Purdue's
sorry.
Playing Oregon. Yeah, I know. It's the West Coast swing. That's tough to get through. Yeah, no, we'll see how they respond against Rutgers. If they lose to Rutgers tonight, I know that's an away game for UCLA, but still, like, if they lose to Rutgers tonight, then I'm like in really, really concerned mode.
If they lose to Rutgers tonight, just cancel the season. It's over.
Yeah.
That's what I'm.
I do think they get back home against Iowa. Maybe things are different when you get back home, but at this point, they've had the weekend and everything. Like they're going on the road to Rutgers, like hostile environment. They should be able. If these guys are dudes, they should respond.
You're talking about Iowa going out to UCLA. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Showtime, Peyton Sanford, dude, on in LA. You kidding me right now? Get that guy a little sun. Show him the beach. You're telling me he's not going to come in and drop 40 on UCLA? Give me a break.
Chef says Mick at the rack spells disaster.
Oh my God, he's going to have a meltdown tonight.
What was Muss's meltdown? I missed that.
I kind of did too, but I saw a bunch of people posting the meme of like 5'3" with an attitude or whatever, which is.
I don't know if anything will ever. Did he take his shirt off again? I don't know if anything will ever compare to that. Wasn't really a meltdown. That was just the celebration in the tournament.
I don't know who was interviewing him after their last game, but he was at least 2 feet taller than Mick Cronin, or I'm sorry, than Musselman. Like I didn't know he was that short after the Illinois game. He's tiny.
Yeah.
Or the guy that was interviewing him was huge. I'm not sure.
One of the two.
Oh yeah, I did hear.
Yeah,
about
Musselman and the USC guys, they snubbed Indiana in the handshake line. That's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, and I totally missed that too, because as soon as that game was over, I changed the channel. I gotta start sticking around for handshakes, man. It's a really important part of the game.
I gotta go to every single Indiana game. I'm kicking myself because Indiana and Illinois play this Tuesday, but Zach and I have a show together. But then again, the game starts at 7, so I'm like, I live 10 minutes away from IU, so like, could I go to the game and then like just maybe buy like a really nice parking pass, and so then that way I get out so quick that I come back home and do the football.
Are you just
show
buying
like
tickets like online, or do you have somebody?
My in-laws have season tickets, so I can, like, if I ask, they generally will. But I don't know if they will for Illinois. That's a huge game.
What, dude? So, just tell them it's not. Tell them it's not a big game. Just be like, Illinois just lost. That's not.
Yeah, guys, Illinois sucks. What are you talking about?
Like, yeah.
I put them last to my power rankings this week.
That'd be hilarious. Like, you guys don't want to go to this game.
All right. So Chef says need you there, JR. Listen, I will if I go, I will seriously wear my Illinois shirt with my Indiana hat, and I'll just be like, I'm for both sides today.
We
'Cause I
need to
got an
get a
Indiana
game.
hat
Like
last
we
night.
need to get a game where like all the people that have been connected to this show like go at the same time, like Purdue, Illinois, and get Sonny, Shaps, get Russ,
I don't know.
get Philip. Dude, that'd be a
Yeah.
crazy if we all went. Oh my God. It'd
I don't
be
know. We might
awesome.
need to go for a less contentious game. They might all get into a fight,
No,
and
no,
you and
no.
I
That'd
just
be
sit
fun,
there.
dude. That'd be so fun. When do they play? Now I gotta look that up.
Russ says he lives in Southern Indiana. Hook a brother up. When are we going to a game? JR with the Altmaier jersey. Listen, I feel like I need to buy like an Aller jersey or something like that now, so we can have like dueling quarterback jerseys for next season since they're both coming back, or Raiola jersey, or Damon Williams jersey. That's who I should really get. I should get a Damon Williams jersey. It'd be awesome.
You should get a Gronowski jersey.
That too. Did you hear he can't throw until June?
What? Why?
Yeah, he got surgery. He's not able to throw until June. It's wild.
Some people would say Iowa quarterbacks haven't been throwing the last 3 seasons.
Okay. Good one. All right. Anything else we want to get to? I know we just kind of went through the top half. Like Indiana, do we want to touch on them? I don't know. Ohio State sucks. I don't really want to talk about them all that much. I'd probably put them too high there. USC and Penn State probably are better than them. I know you probably don't want to talk about Northwestern. Is there anybody else there in the bottom half you want to talk about before we get out of here?
I do want to ask you why you have Washington at 16 when they're not going to win another game this year. I'm curious about that.
I told you. I think Danny Sprinkle's doing a better job than some people.
No, they played good this. I actually thought that they played better this week. I have to admit,
They
you
gave
were right
Michigan that game for a little while. Michigan eventually, pulled out in front, but
I was
that
nervous.
game.
I thought I was going to have to buy a canvas. Remember last week I said I was going to buy the Husky canvas and
you
they
were.
lost. I was getting nervous.
They what were they within 5 or 8 or something like that at halftime against Michigan?
Yeah. I think it was like 7 at halftime. I can't remember exactly.
Oh,
but it was
math.
Like 10 it was like 10, 8, 12 there for a while. But they have a brutal schedule coming up. Speaking of teams like that are like canceled the season, Purdue, Oregon, UCLA, they're going to lose at Minnesota, like I said, and then they have Nebraska and Northwestern. Man, they really might not win again. I'm still worried about them. Even though they are shooting better, I'm still really worried about them.
Do you think Ben Johnson or Steve Peichel gets fired this season if Rutgers and Minnesota keep playing the way they are?
Steve Peichel for sure. Like if they don't do something
for real, you think so?
Like what, you have 2 lottery picks on your team and like you're about to miss the tournament? Like you taking Ace Bailey and Dylan Harper, which by the way, is Dylan Harper back yet? Like what is going on with him? Did he play the last game? I missed it.
He came back.
Yeah, he did. I felt like I saw him in there.
Yeah, no, he came back. Let me check his minutes really fast. But he also lost like 11 pounds and was super sick. So like I don't know. A lot of people were like kind of giving, and Braden Smith went on Twitter about it. About like I think was it Rafael Davis said Rutgers had one of the best backcourts in the Big Ten.
Oh, I did see that.
And Braden Smith's like, doing the handshake emoji. It's like, all right, dude, you just beat a guy who lost 11 pounds and was sick for, a couple weeks. Like, calm down.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't see you quote tweeting anything when Ace Baldwin.
Yeah, I missed that too. Yeah. He didn't like. I made a whole video about that. I didn't see Braden tweeting that one out. I don't know where he was for that.
Yeah.
No, but like
go to that
if I was a diehard like Rutgers fan, I'd be pissed right now. Like I would want him fired. Like this is the best recruiting class he's ever had. I know that they're freshmen, but I'm expecting to go to the NCAA tournament at the bare minimum. Are you gonna take those guys to the NIT? Like get out of here, man. These are NBA talent guys right now. And you're about to go to the NIT, I'd be upset if I was
They're
them.
not even going to the NIT at this point, dude. Like they're 8-8, 1-4 in the Big Ten. Like these dudes are gonna opt out before the season's over.
If we say all that, then they're gonna beat UCLA tonight by 30, and then we're gonna have to double back on all this. If
Rutgers is say, I don't know, 2-10 in the Big Ten, does Dylan Harper and Ace Bailey, do they just opt out for the rest of the season?
No, they can't do that. They got to put tape out still because they're still trying to improve their stock.
Do they though? Like
that's all Ace is doing. I feel like when like those games that Dylan was out, I was like, this man is just trying to put the best like you know, what do they call it, the high school like huddle film together that he possibly can, like the best highlight tape he can, so that like on draft night they have all these amazing highlights of him, like when he gets picked 14th or whatever.
Can we just start calling him
if
Pickle?
They don't make the Big Ten tournament, I'll be
Pickle.
really upset.
Philip says I wouldn't fire Pickle. Can we just start calling him Pickle? That's not what it actually says. I said Pickle. He says Pickle. I guess
also
isn't
to
it?
answer the other half of your question, like sure, fire Ben Johnson. Who's coming there? Like Rick Pitino Jr. is not coming back.
Yeah, Rick Pitino Jr. Is he at New Mexico now? I think
they're not going to find anybody that like that school just doesn't care enough about basketball. I feel like maybe I'm way off on that.
I mean, we did an entire segment last night on the football show about they're too cheap to pay their assistant coaches in football. Like, and you know, I was kind of getting some backlash from a few Minnesota fans who they weren't in the comments on YouTube, but they were letting me know afterward. They're like, our school does care, and I'm like, guys, like I'm not going against you. Like I said it in the episode. Like PJ Fleck is a good coach, and he needs more like money for the salary of his coaches. And I haven't looked into the money for Minnesota yet, but as far as I'm concerned, like their NIL doesn't care too much about basketball. All their good players this past year left. I shouldn't say all of them. They retained Dawson Garcia, and Mike Mitchell, but I don't know.
Do you think
like,
that the game against Ohio State was the game of the year? Because I do.
For Minnesota?
Yeah. You didn't enjoy that game?
They lost. No, I
hated it. No, I'm saying
I had no fun during that game. I was texting you about how terrible I was and how I didn't want to watch Big Ten basketball for the rest of the year, and I wasn't going to do the show anymore if Ohio State lost that game.
No, I'm saying that's like an outside, like, okay, I guess you're the wrong person to ask, but like as an outside observer who's not a fan of either, like I am a big fan of both of those teams, but that's not my team. That was like my favorite game to watch. And somebody sent this out. I think it might have been Greg from Sleepers said that this is what the Big Ten is robbing us of by not letting the last 3 teams into the tournament, the Big Ten tournament at the end of the year. Like we live for games like that. That game was incredible. I loved it. The mental mistakes by Minnesota were like unbelievably hilarious to watch. Fouling up 2 is a move I have never seen before. Like incredible.
Which player was that?
It was,
and that
Betts.
was the Parker Fox.
I didn't want to call him out by name. It was Caden Betts, though. I like him, by the way.
That was the Parker Fox legacy game. He ruined the Parker Fox.
I know, dude. I know. I was about to have a field day on Twitter that night. He still was the leading scorer in the game.
Dude, he was so good in that game. I was like,
he was unreal.
I was like, I really like Parker Fox. Like, you know, the interactions you've had with him and like how he's giving you time. Like, I really like. But I was like, dude, Ohio State cannot lose to Parker Fox leading the team.
Would have been epic. Would have been epic. Man, I was so ready to have a great night.
I was about ready to no longer do the basketball episodes for the Big Ten if they lost that game. So Philip says the double overtime allowed him to hit his parlay. So Philip had a good night that night. I did not.
Man.
Jeez. That was one where I went to bed that night just mad.
I didn't want it to end. I wanted like triple, quadruple overtime. Like I just wanted to keep watching more of it. More foul trouble, like random guys getting in the game that never play. Like that would have been so much fun to end the game like that.
I think even the Sickos committee tweeted about it.
They had to have. I mean, that's what I'm kind of saying is like it was like the Sickos game of the year. Like it was so bad, but it was so good.
Yeah, I just couldn't enjoy it that way. Maybe if it was like Minnesota, Washington, I could have enjoyed it that way. But
which Minnesota is going to win that game? I'm on record saying that multiple times. I'm going to say that every week until Minnesota loses.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. Shaps is doing it. Pickle got away from Rutgers B-ball that he built. Might cost him his job. There we go. Calling him Pickle now.
It really might. Dude, have you watched them play, though? It's all ISO. Everything. Like, they'll run a set, and then they'll run 3 in a row where it's just like everybody clear out, let Ace try to go one-on-one. That's what the whole Wisconsin game was ISO. Like, you would have a hard time going through that game and clipping a play that you would feel comfortable like showing youth basketball programs like, hey, this is how you run offense right here. Nothing. Like really hard to find from Rutgers in that game. It was all bad. All bad. And part of that's like the way Wisconsin plays defense. I understand that. Like they're really good. But also you can't let them do that. You have to get into your stuff and like run some sets.
Yeah. No, for sure. For sure. I love that Pickle is catching on. Pickleball. There we go. John says Clemson is working to hire Tom Allen. Yeah, me and Zach talked about it last night, and then I turned it into a video. So that was like our instant reactions to hearing about that. I hadn't heard that yet, but you go watch the video if you want to hear more about it. I don't know if I want to relitigate it, especially since we probably
Tom Allen on the basketball episode. Is that what you're
probably not. Probably not. Unless Tom Allen comes to be the defensive coordinator for Iowa. Iowa basketball defensive coordinator might work out.
That would work out.
Yeah.
Who needs a defensive coordinator the worst? Is it Iowa?
Who has what?
I said, who needs it the worst? Is it Iowa?
In basketball, yeah, it's Iowa.
Yeah. I'm trying to look if there's a worse defensive team. I don't think that there is.
I don't think so. Even if I go to CBV Analytics, I'm sure the worst defensive rated team is.
I used to think it was USC, but they've really locked in lately. Anyways,
yeah, sorry. USC. Their defense actually looked not bad in the preseason, but it's
preseason. I didn't think so.
It's not gotten good. Where's it at? Where do I go for the defensive? There we go. Advanced defense. The team with the lowest defensive rating right now. We were just talking about them. The team with the lowest defensive rating right now in the Big Ten is Rutgers. Yeah.
Tom Allen to Rutgers.
Iowa is actually, where are they at?
They're like
Iowa's 5th. Guess who's 4th? You'll never guess who's 4th. 4th last. Sorry. Iowa's 5th
from last. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Sorry. You'll never guess who is 4th last. It is Rutgers, Minnesota, Washington, this team, and then Iowa. Who has a worse defensive rating than Iowa? You'll never guess it.
Nebraska.
No, Purdue.
Oh, wow.
I've not seen that this season. That's crazy.
Well, especially after the week that they just had. I guess it doesn't, like, the way that they blow people out really doesn't make you look at their defense. So,
yeah. Yep. Braden Smith going crazy.
Pete Thamel has a weird voice. I don't think I've ever said that to put it out on the internet, but I'm saying it right now. He has a weird voice.
Who does?
Pete Thamel.
Oh, yeah, he does have a weird voice.
Yeah. Super weird.
All right, Kent. Got to get out of here. I got my call with ESPN Radio at 11 o'clock, so got to get ready for that. By the way, everybody, if I don't know if you care, but I am going to be on ESPN Radio 1600 over in Iowa at, I believe, 5 o'clock Iowa time. I record in the mornings, and then I come on and I do a segment with them. It's a quick, like, 8 to 10 minute segment thing. So if anybody is in Iowa, you can catch me over there. I did it last season. I didn't really promote it last season, but I found out that they do stream their episode live. So if you guys ever want to listen to it, feel free. If not, I understand. You probably don't want to listen to Iowa radio. That's fine with me. So, Kent, you got anything before we get out of here?
Nope. Just excited about another week of great basketball coming up. It's going to be a fun one.
Yeah. Who do we have tonight?
Rutgers. We have the Rutgers game that I feel like talked about quite a bit now, but Rutgers and UCLA, and then I'm not sure who else. I didn't look at the schedule.
I'll look at it really fast because we are,
might be it.
Very accurate news here at the Big Ten.
Let's do it. Huddle. This is what people wanted to see. They wanted to see us go through our apps and see who else is playing. Minnesota at Maryland.
Minnesota at Maryland. It's gonna be a banger.
Banger.
Let's look for another Minnesota-Ohio State game. Hopefully Maryland will give that to us. Please, Kevin Willard, please.
Will Parker Fox score 20 points again this season at all?
Maryland is favored by 16.5.
Wow. That actually makes sense, though.
Yeah, Minnesota's bad. All right. Thanks for watching, everybody. We appreciate it. Kit, thanks for being on. We will be back at least next Monday. I'm trying to figure out what to do with the regular basketball episodes. So I was doing Thursdays. Now there's literally Big Ten basketball on every single night. I was trying to keep a consistent day. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I've been thinking about doing like a Friday afternoon show, but it's harder to get guests for that. So I don't know. If you guys have any suggestions, put it in the comments and I'll go through and see them and everything. But I'm trying to figure it out because I don't want to do the show while Big Ten basketball is going on. That feels like, and then obviously if I post it the next morning, then I'm not talking about the basketball games that just happened that night. And then with West Coast teams playing, I don't want to record something at midnight. So you guys let me know what you want. What you want and stuff like that, or if you guys have any ideas. If not, I'll try to figure something out and we'll just see where we go with it. So thanks everybody.
We should do a Thursday one where we just like do like a live watch, and like during commercial breaks we'll talk about the other teams.
That would be fun.
Like maybe even if it was just like the second half of a game,
or like come on at halftime, talk for a little bit, and then
watch the second half.
Wes,
or not watch it.
You're gonna make me blush. We just want you.
Like, who's playing Thursday night this week? Because that would actually be super fun. Although I literally can't do it on Thursday night, but you should do it though.
Yeah. Are you like my boss now? Oh my gosh, there's 3 games on Thursday night. Maryland, it's Michigan at Minnesota, Maryland at Northwestern, Rutgers at Nebraska. Like, this is what I'm talking about. The schedule is just so jam packed. I can't come on if it's an Ohio State one though, because if they start losing, I'm just gonna start saying bad things about Jake Diebler, which I don't want to do because I like Jake Diebler. But
I want to do a show where like I just literally watch a game and put it on Twitter, because they don't take anything down. Like YouTube would take it down if you like stream an actual game, but I don't think Twitter would.
They'll just community note it.
So
it looks like honestly
what would they
the
put in
only
the community
time
notes though? Like, this is a live stream. Like, who cares?
Yeah, I don't know. It looks like literally the only time could be Sunday night, but I don't know. I'll figure it out. Everybody, and then we'll get back to you. So thanks so much for joining us. We will be back at least next Monday. If I figure something out, I'll post about it on Twitter and I'll post on the YouTube channel to make sure everybody knows. So thanks so much for watching. We do appreciate it. Have a good night.